Let me just start this episode by talking about the importance of the scalene muscles and the impact that a massage therapist can have with really good work on the scalenes for their clients. These twangy guitar string-like muscles that come down the lateral side of the neck are so important in head and neck movement, but also in respiration, in our ability to really bring in the maximal amount of oxygen that we can, that it plays such a deep role in how athletes perform, and how singers perform, and how a person projects, and how a person's body regulates itself, and in general, how a person kind of feels in their life. The ability to take a deep breath in is one of the fundamental elements to homeostasis. Therefore, how can we not stress the importance of the scalene muscles? So after warming up the neck a bit, I like to do some nice myofascial stretching down the scalene muscles, starting at the transverse processes and pushing all the way down to their attachment at the first and second rib underneath that clavicle. With one hand pinning down the connective tissue that attaches to the scalp, I like to use my fingers now to pinpoint each one of those scalene muscles. So starting with the posterior scalenes, working all the way down, pushing all the way down into the first rib, and then the middle scalenes, and then repeating that with the anterior scalenes, taking my time with each fiber of each muscle, carefully avoiding the brachial plexus here. As the brachial plexus exits out through the scalene muscles, you want to be sure not to hit that nerve complex. That doesn't feel good. Releasing the scalenes feels good, nerve pressure does not. After isolating each of those fibers, I'm going to do another deep myofascial stretch using a soft fist here, making sure to really hold that pressure at the bottom of that muscle into the first and the second rib, offering a nice stretch with my left hand, which you can't see here, holding the neck at the top. The attachment sites of the scalenes down into the first and the second rib can be really tender. For obvious reasons, they just do a lot of work and don't often get a lot of love. So I like to pin and stretch this muscle. I love this technique and I think it's really effective with the scalenes. Softening the tissue by pulling the head towards the attachment site, sinking down into the attachment itself, and then using my other hand to slowly pull the head away, stretching those scalenes out and lengthening that muscle, softening that attachment site. Turning the head towards the side of the scalenes that I'm working on really softens that, like I said before. So while I'm doing that, not only can I attack the attachment site, but I can also work up the muscle pretty methodically here. Every time I soften it, I'm going to sink in towards the transverse processes and allow that pressure to just unravel that muscle and let it unwind, let it kind of remind itself what it's supposed to feel like. As opposed to being taut and stringy, it's supposed to feel nice and soft and malleable. Switching my position here, I'm actually going to hook my fingers around the clavicle. And when I do this, I can kind of sink down into the attachments again, into that first and second rib. And when I tug very gently at the clavicle, I'm giving it a little more space and pulling from a different direction, offering it some new breath and some new air and some new movement. allowing the scalenes to have some more freedom. Because the scalenes tuck down under the clavicle in their attachment sites, I do like to focus on the clavicle and give it some freedom. I think it really plays a deep role in how the scalenes function. And so coming down into the clavicle and pinching it with my thumb and my fingers, I offer it a little bit of movement and give it some flexibility and give it some freedom from that connective tissue that surrounds the clavicle and therefore eventually attaches into the scalenes and the ribs. I want to give some really deep movement into the client's ability to breathe, to take a deep breath in. I also don't want to forget about the subclavius while I'm working on the clavicle, that little carrot muscle that lies just underneath the clavicle and often pulls the clavicle down, rotating the shoulders in, and yet again inhibiting the client's ability to stand tall and breathe deeply. Giving the scalenes a final stretch kind of sets all that work I've done into place. So asking the client to lift their chin up and away from their shoulder, I push down on the shoulder, pull up on the neck, and that stretches that whole area out. Feels really good. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any details that you want to share from your body work, I'd love to see it. Take a video, post it below, share it with the massage community. We can always keep growing. The beauty is definitely in the detail, and there's so much beautiful work that we can do out there. Keep growing, keep working, keep strong, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.